I see anything. It's picking up something.
Lots of sound.
Since
Hi.
there's nothing
How are you guys?
connected, that's kind of weird.
Great. It's like I got here early so I could get a seat at the back. That's right. So you've got audio but no visuals.
picking up there? What am I picking up? Oh, actually, I guess I have to do this. Sound now, speak. There. Again. I'm not hearing nothing.
No, I got you over here. Now we're just looking.
I want you to go away. I'm gonna throw this phone. Piece of shit.
family. He's very excited. He also tells an occasional funny joke too. So let's everyone welcome Casey Green up to the front.
That means you have to pay attention to the all-powerful. You know, the older I get, I don't trust stairs anymore. Does anybody ever feel that way? They're always up to something, I know. Well, we're here tonight for the life you've always wanted, not to hear me tell silly jokes. Anyway, but sometimes it's worth it. So, when we talk about what's the life you always wanted, I get excited when I think about this. I was talking to a young man today, and it's funny. When you're out, when you're here, it's like a normal thing, but when you go out in the real world, you ask somebody, what's the life you always wanted? They're like, are you on something? It's kind of funny to think, out in the world, it's not
just him?
taught that it should be something that's exciting or people. If somebody is laughing, right, and somebody's happy, it depends on if they're laughing too much. Like, I think that they need some medication. But here, it's a good thing. You see people smiling. In fact, the gentleman I was talking about, when I did ask him that, he really did. Are you all right? And I started laughing, and I just said, yeah, I'm all right. How about you? And he really didn't know what to say. I said, no, seriously, have you ever thought about that? And he's like, yes, maybe when I was younger, but haven't thought about it for a while. And one of the things I said, well, I have an amazing opportunity. You're an amazing young man, and I thought I would sit down and share something with you. And so tonight, what I thought I would share with you guys is the same thing. We get an opportunity, and I sat down with him and I said, I'm excited to show you something. I'm not sure if it's for you or not, but I absolutely love what it does. I love the opportunity it has, and I'm so excited for my future. Is it okay if I just show you a few things, and then we'll go from there and see what you think? Is that okay? And so what I did, I started walking through with him, and I said, what was interesting, when I saw this opportunity, I had a friend of mine come to my home, and my wife and I were looking for something different, because we were not living the life we always wanted. And it's like he was spying on me, because he's like, do you have everything you want finance-wise? No. Do you have time? He asked me, like, really, and it was more to relate. Do you know anybody that could relate to any of this? When you sit down and you're asking somebody, do you have currently where you're at, is it exactly where you want to be? And I have not met anybody yet, probably besides the person, that says, yes, they are exactly where they're at. So this is more not to feel like to leave anybody out. This is more to relate to somebody. And what I can say, what I can definitely relate to when Jeff said, your financial position is here, but you have a big problem that keeps you from everything over here. Is that correct? And I said, how did you know that, Jeff? And he said, because I'm psychic. No, he's really not. But he said, would you like to have more time? Do you have all the money that you want? Do you have freedom? And I was like, what is this, a checklist of things? But he's like, no, these are things that I wanted. And I realized I didn't have what I was currently doing, didn't get me any one of these things. But have you ever thought of any of these? So when you asked this young man I sat down with, I asked him, have you ever thought of time? Do you spend your time exactly how you want? He's like, well, that's weird. What do you mean? We all live life, we all have responsibility. I said, no, do you know that people that are very successful, they spend their time, and it's their most valuable thing that they spend, and they're very purposeful with it, and they spend it how they want. Does that sound different? And money. I said freedom to just be able to do what you want. We talk about freedom, so my wife homeschooled our boys, and so as they get older, and the oldest one, he wanted to try school. He thought he was missing out on something. So my wife said, so you go take some classes. I went to high school. He's taking classes at the high school, and he came home the other day and he said, I got in trouble at school. And I said, why? because I had to use the bathroom. I'm like, okay. Well, if you're in school, you don't have the freedom to go use the bathroom whenever you want. And he's like, well, I don't understand. I told her I had to use the bathroom. I'm like, I know. And what did she say? She's like, no, you don't need to use the bathroom. And if you do, you have to write your name down, and you can only be gone for 5 minutes. And he's like, I'm pretty sure I know if I have to use the bathroom. I'm just saying, if you want to teach your kids about freedom, send them to school because there's no freedom. Okay? Security. Has anybody ever thought about security? True security. What does that mean for most people? Safe environment, safe. What I think it means financially to most people is you have something in place that will take care of your family even if you're not there. That's what it kind of means to me. Do I have something that if something happens to me, my wife and my family will be taken care of? Do I have something in place where I won't leave them in a bad spot? And some people say, well, I have life insurance. I can just tell you, has anybody ever looked at a brand new car lately? How many life insurance policies do you need to buy a brand new car? It's crazy. So think about it. It's not a lot of money, but there's something different about having an asset security versus just a lump sum of money. We'll get into that. But family, anybody ever thought about, now this may be two different aspects of there's people that may think about if I had the money and the freedom and the time, I would run away from my family. Maybe there's some people would say, if I had the time, the money, and the freedom, I would be with my family more. That's, make sure my wife heard that. But lifestyle, has anybody ever thought, this is a funny one too, when I sat down and talked to Jeff about this. Has anybody ever thought, because I know I always blame my high school counselor. He wasn't a bad person. But he never told me about lifestyle. Hey, if you want this lifestyle, here's what I'd recommend you to be. Because I think if they put it on paper that way, would you make some different choices? I know I would have. But did you know that you can choose that? But 95% of us are taught that these are not choices. Right? And giving. Honestly, coming from a family that didn't have a lot, we gave a little bit, but this wasn't a thing that I just thought rich people gave money. Right? And it's not. People that don't have a lot usually give the most. I really like that too, compared to what they have. But I didn't realize that that was a thing that you could make a lifestyle feeling, giving to people and helping people. And then legacy. I thought this one, so Jeff was telling me about this one a little while ago, and I didn't quite understand, but the more I started thinking about it, I'm like, man, you think about somebody that had an impression on you, even when you're younger. Think about how long, like if you were in school, grade school, anybody could probably remember an adult, a parent, or a teacher saying something to you that still stuck with you all these years later. Good or bad, but I would say like the good, I could think of Mrs. Deming. She was probably about that tall. She was my first grade teacher, but she was one of the toughest ladies I've ever met in my life. And I remember being in first grade and I looked like her eye to eye. I could look at her eye to eye, and she was one of those ladies that she was a phenomenal teacher. But if you ever got on her best, did anybody ever get paddled in school? I knew Steve did. She had a paddle, and she knew how to use it. And I may have been one of those kids that got paddled. But I tell you what, it's a funny story I say about this woman didn't mess around. But she was one of the nicest ladies I've ever been around in my life, and I knew her my whole life when I lived there. In fact, when I got older, I used to go help cut hay and then feed their cows, and just amazing lady. But I remember her telling me once, like, this little just spitfire of a gal telling me you can do whatever you want. And I'll never forget, like, looking at her like, what? She's like, it's just a decision that stuck with me forever, because Miss Deming's like, no, you have the power to do whatever you want. And I'm like, thanks, Miss Deming, but she just paddled me, so maybe that was a way to make me feel better. But think about that. Think about legacy. What is it that you would like to leave this world with? Behind and the effect that you have on whether it's on your family, whether it's on a total stranger. Have you ever thought about it? What kind of legacy do you want to leave? And even on your headstone. On my headstone, I don't want a dash. It's too small. I'm going to do something different. I don't want people to represent me, so from this year to this year, there's a little dash. I'm going to at least make it real long and maybe leave off some numbers, so that's a question mark. Something. The whole point of this is that there is a problem that most of us face that we don't know why we are stuck here currently, would you say? And does anybody that you know, and can you relate to this, or to anybody that you know, can they relate to there's a problem that keeps them from what they want? 100% for me, and I can think of most of everybody in my family, all my friends, that there's not one person I can't think that there's something standing in the way of getting what they want. It's further described as the 45-year plan. Has anybody heard of the 45-year plan? There is a way out, but first, the 45-year plan is what most of us are taught. And if this is what you're taught, isn't it the norm? What do I mean by that? Isn't it normal to have a 30-year mortgage? Isn't it normal to have a car payment, credit card bills? Isn't it normal to be in debt even till the day that you die nowadays? That's normal, right? That's what's taught. 95% of us are in this, and we trade time for money. What does that mean? It means we can only, every hour we work, that's when we get paid. So if we don't go to work, well, we don't get paid, right? And there's no leverage. There's no way that you can be like that really good movie, Corporate History, and you go duplicate yourself. Have you ever seen that show? It's an awesome show. The only bad thing is, like, when you make a copy of a copy, it doesn't quite turn out very good. And the last guy, he's my favorite guy.
Sounds off.
But anyway, there's no leverage. It would be nice to be able to say to yourself, the hard-working self, to work, and you can go play and do whatever. But here, the key part of what most of us have learned is we don't have any leverage, which is absolutely, it's kind of crazy when you think about it. All my issues are because I don't have any leverage. All the issues of 95% of us is because we don't know how to leverage. Yeah, what the heck is leverage? That's a good question. But it's limited time and limited income. Anybody ever felt that? If you are a young man or young lady today, and even if you went to school and you were taught this, what can you buy a house right now here in Utah? And a lot of the young men that I work with, I would say that they are pretty blessed and they make more than probably the average folks coming out of school, and they're still no way in heck that they're buying a house. Right? I mean, it's absolutely crazy to think about this. So I just want you to see, even if you're an employee or even if you're self-employed, you have limited time. There's no leverage, there's no system in place to help you. And then you didn't graph it out here so you can see the rest of your life. And even the dash is a little bit longer here. So but you start making good income. And this is data that they pull across America if you pay taxes. Even if you don't, they graph you out anyway. But you start really making more and more income, and then you start flatlining. And you get in your 30s, something like that. And then you're supposed to retire at age 65. I think the recommended age now is 70. It's something crazy. They just bumped it up to 70 because people have so much fun working all the time. They say, what's 5 more years? But here's the scary thing. Here's the reality of what 95% of us learn. You work all your life, you retire, and you lose a half to 2/3 of your income, and you're supposed to live happily ever after. Right? Is that the case today? Are people retiring and they feel good about it? There's no such thing as inflation. Fixed income is awesome, and they get to do what they want. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that I know that they go get a second job. Some people will say it's because they're bored. I would say it's because when you lose a half to 2/3 of your income and you still have a lot of bills, what do you do? It's really just the reality of it. And this is pretty sad reality. 95% of us are taught this. And there's some people that do okay with this, some, but the majority don't. And my question is, this isn't to, if this is most of us, it's not to knock anybody down and then are there profession and people like what they do, 100%. But what I liked, I can't remember who presented it to me this way, but when I heard someone say, there's a different way, and I'll show you in just a minute, if there was a different way, if I showed you option A and option B, to me, and you could give that to somebody and have them make a choice, I think it'd be interesting to see what they would choose. But when it really comes down to why are you in the financial spot that you're in? If 95% of us we learn a certain way, we don't have any leverage, well, the whole financial system is rigged against us. It's actually made to siphon all the money out of your house. Has anybody ever siphoned gas? I do, Steve would. But how do you do it? So you put a hose in, you have to start.
This is the bad one, you know. The best way is to go long hose.
Yeah, okay.
And stuff down in.
So you got to create suction that starts getting the gas out once you get it moving. So you're learning things here, folks, in case you didn't say. Times are hard. Inflation is high, but anyway, if you need it,
There's free gas out there.
Steve will teach you how to try to get it done. But really, if you look at this in the household, that's another way to kind of look at it. It's really, these are big siphon holes. They're siphoning all the money. The whole financial system is siphoning money. Does anybody have any debts? Do you know anybody have? You don't raise your hand. Does anybody have? Is inflation a real thing? I mean, I don't go to the store that often, and I never was just a while back. My wife sent me to because she's awesome. She takes care of things. But I went to get some hamburger, and I'm like, I'm not going to that place anymore. Oh, like $6. That's a rip off. And I go home and she's like, hey, where'd you get the hamburger? I'm like, oh, that place, like they just raised their prices or something. And she's like, it's been that way for a while. But I'm like, $6? That's like what steak used to be. Go buy a steak. Or you'll go in a day. But I get it. It's really, if you're trying to help somebody out in a situation to teach them, and you can say, hey, really the financial system is rigged against you. This book, Insidious, written by Lauren Woodward, it really, how do you help somebody out of a problem? One, if they don't know what the problem is, it's really kind of hard to walk them down the road. So what do? We give them the key that unlocks the door of Insidious that helps them to understand the financial situation they're in. One, how things work, but not only that, in the end it does get to it. How do I get out of that? How do I break this cycle? How do I get out of there? How do I find a way out? So is anybody interested in that? Because this is the other part here. There is a way out, and there's 5% of people live the other way. And this is where I think if someone showed you option A and option B, what one would you choose? To me, 5% of people have 95% of the wealth. And how do they do that? They have wealth thinking, so they leverage system and they develop leaders. Would anybody pick that versus the 45-year plan? So all we're doing when we sit down with someone brand new is I'm just asking them questions. If I could show you two different ways, what one would you pick? And do you want a way out currently of where you're at right now? Are you looking for something else? Do you want more money? Do you want more time? This is just questions that you ask, and it just makes sense, right? Because most of them say yes, 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 yes. And it's simply Utah. Thank you. I've heard that a couple times. But here's the awesome part. All great business, yeah, that's what I said. All great businesses solve great problems. So they turn that problem into an opportunity. So think about how much pressure and stress Americans are under. 95% of us on bills that you have to pay and debt that you're in. Not that I want to think about that right now. Think about that. Does that affect anybody that you know? Maybe you or anybody that you know. And when I'm sitting down with someone brand new, I ask him this. I mean, I'm like, you don't have to answer. I'm just saying, anybody if it's you or anybody that you know, is it a problem? Does it affect them negatively? Yes, credit cards, gateway drug or debt, either way. But kids nowadays, they don't know a world without credit cards. And
I am getting a little bit older, because I remember a day when you hardly ever used credit cards. Or that was like a thing that was like, that guy was terrible with finances if he used credit cards. But everybody paid with cash. Everybody had cash. You go to, here's how the world's, there's places you go now that they don't accept cash. What the, there's something wrong there. So our credit cards taking over, what's the whole reason credit cards are set up? They had too much plastic left over and they said, what are we gonna do with this? No, they didn't. Really, credit cards are set up to put people into debt. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's bad. The whole reason and I had someone like, well, it's easy to use. Of course it is. Do you ever notice why the easy things, all the easy things, are usually never the best thing for you, right? Credit cards are terrible, but what if we had something different to help walk people through, how do I get out of that? How do I start the little habits? I'm getting to it. The little habits to help you get somewhere. So what I love is we have what they call the consumer rebellion. What if we created a community that through this community, by people buying the things they already have to buy, it's a tough world out there, but what if we showed them a different way to pay that protected them, that gave them money back on things they were already purchasing anyway? What if we allowed people to choose the option of, I want to start using leverage. I want to start implementing wealth habits in my life. What if we locked arms together with this community and look at the people that we're locking arms with? Look at these huge corporations, Target, Walmart, Lowe's, Kroger, Amazon. Are these big companies? Huge companies. And what are these companies without their customers? Absolutely nothing, right? Because if any company does not have customers, they don't have a business. So here, the bigger that we can get our community, that means customers, that means members, and that also means merchants. The bigger our community, the more buying power we have, the more opportunity that we have with everybody. So, and I'll get to it in a minute on the team part. This is where it makes it exciting, but we're offering people, they're already buying stuff. Does anybody buy gas, groceries, food, go out to eat, anything like that? If you're already doing it anyway, if we just show them a different way. So I've had someone tell me before, well, I'm just not sure that I can use the app all the time. I said, you know what? 30 years ago, people said they'll never use a piece of plastic to pay for stuff. That would be absolutely terrible. But yet, what do people do today? And do you think, let me ask you this one. Do you think that a plastic card is going to be the way of the future, or is it going to be some electronic payment system that's going to be the future? It's already going that way. That's the future of it, which part of this platform is electronic payment platform that a community can benefit. And do we help anything? Starts to be wealth thinking, and this is the beginning of leverage that we didn't have. That was one of the key problems, is we didn't have a way to leverage. So what do we do? What's the next step in anything to be successful? What do successful people do? Does anybody ever been around somebody that's really successful? Did they think the same way? Like I just looked at it. When I'm around very successful people, they don't think the same way I do. And one of the things I thought is they have there's little habits that they do over time that end up being a big thing. So financial literacy, most people that when I think of someone very successful, it's not just things, but it's kind of what they do. So financial literacy, good with their finances. They have leadership skills, meaning they don't demean people or look down on them because their finances are better. They help people and they teach people and they lead people and they lift people up. That's what I think with leadership and success. And they leverage system. They're very smart to be able to leverage a system, and they teach other people how to do that, to leverage a system so they can help get their time back and be free and do what they want. That's what I think wealth thinking is, and to me this is the challenge, and what this opportunity is asking. Would you like to be a part of the wealth thinking challenge? Would you like to start implementing these in your life? And one of the ways we do that is we build a community, and part of building a community is its leverage. And how do we do that? One of them is the questions I get. This gentleman I sat down with today, he's like, well, where's all the money come from? You make money off of me? And I'm like, yes, give me $5. No, I said, it's like any business. They make money based off of the volume, the products that flow through the business. Does that sound like a legitimate business? Very much so. And I said, what I think is kind of funny sometimes is because I have an opportunity and I'm showing it to you, I said, so you would get mad at me if I profited off of something that you purchased? He's like, well, yeah. I said, so when you go into Walmart or you buy something from Amazon, you get mad at Walmart and Amazon? Well, no. I'm like, well, what's the difference? If you got what you wanted and it was a good price and you get some cash back, why did it hurt? How did I hurt you? He's like, well, I never thought about it that way. And apparently I rubbed him the wrong way before. I don't know. But think about that. What are we asking people to do? What are we introducing? What are we not even asking? What we're just introducing the opportunity. Here's stuff you already buy. Here's a different way to pay for it, and you'll get perks. You'll get cash back, and it's a safer way. And if I make money out of it, and you got it cheaper than you could get it before, isn't that a good deal? That's a phenomenal deal. So we're asking people, where do the perks come from? If we can cut out the credit card fees. In fact, one of the gentlemen, Hunter, you guys know, his dad is I don't know if it's he's like a part owner in a Texas Roadhouse. And I was asking him about, well, how much in credit card fees? And he's like, I bet you it's 30 grand in credit card fees a month. So let me say that, $30,000, which I'm like, what the heck? Think about that. And I said, well, what did he get for that? He's like, he had to pay $30,000. I'm like, so would any one of you say, for convenience-wise, I'll pay you $30,000 just so you don't have to give me money? That seems great. What did he get for it? Absolutely nothing. Did they help him advertise? Did they help him? They took $30,000 out of the business because they trained people to use a credit card. And what did they get in return? I just think it's kind of crazy when you think about it. So when we say, where did the money come from? What if we took away credit card fees? Do you think there'd be some money available? This is just one location in 1 month. So think of how many businesses are out there, how many locations, how many transactions happen, how many billions of dollars are out there just in transaction fees. Crazy. Excuse me. So when you think about advertisement, or I say the Super Bowl a lot, but think about how much companies spend in advertising. Think of their, even a big, medium-sized company, how many millions of dollars they spend on advertising. Millions. And all the big companies that we're partnered with, if you added all those together, it'd be billions and billions of dollars they spend in advertising. And to build a store, has anybody ever tried to build anything like, I don't care if it's a birdhouse, you'd be like, man, can I talk to the finance department? I need to get a 5-year loan to pay off my birdhouse here. It's crazy the amount to build a store now. It's amount, if you add all these together, is there billions and billions of dollars at stake here? What if we could reallocate those billions of dollars to put more money back in customers' pockets, to funnel it to members? Yes. To get it back to, this is a win-win all the way around. So to get money back, more money back to the merchants. They don't pay unless a customer buys. If you owned a business, would you sign up for that advertisement deal that you didn't pay until someone bought? Yeah. 100%. It's 100% effective. So if we build communities, is there plenty of money to reallocate and distribute and give everybody a fair deal? Just billions and billions, that's all. So I hope this excites you when you think about this. As what are we asking people to do? Join the Consumer Rebellion. Even if they don't want to be a building member, would it make sense that they become a customer? Yeah. Does it keep them safe? Can they get things cheaper than they did before? Yes, yes, and yes. So we're asking folks, join the Consumer Rebellion. If anybody, a lot of people I talk to sometimes, is the world tough? Yeah. It's an uplifting place. There's so much positivity out there wherever you go. In here, so that's why I appreciate you guys. It really is a good place to be. I love coming here. Everybody's smiling. And go to where you work and see how many people really are smiling every day. And it's kind of shocking when you think about it. And in fact, when I first started coming here, I'd go to work and I'm pretty fired up, and I still, am a lot of times, and they're like, people are like, are you all right? What the heck? And I'm like, I'm just excited. Life is awesome, especially when you have an opportunity to go where you want to go. And here's one of my favorite things that we get to do. Same thing, gentleman I sat down with today, I just went and asked him, what are your dreams? And he's like, where do all these weird questions come from? I'm like, what's weird about that? I was like, isn't it something fun to talk about? What are your dreams? I'm not Make-A-Wish, but what are your dreams? And what they found is they have a list of all the people that they've sat down with all over the United States. Most people, this is their top list of things. They want time. Would anybody like more time? Time at work. So this is what the critical part. You have to be very specific with what you want. I want more time with what? And I'm trying to think of the gentleman's name. Not Stephen Covey. He's a really famous guy, but it'll come to me. But he was talking about goals, and I liked it because I use this a lot too. Goals are like, it's like a map. It's like a road map. It's a destination that you're trying to get to. But here's the thing. If you don't write it down, there's some magic that happens when you physically write it down and you write your goals down and you read them. And there's something about you physically writing it down that really happens. And here's what I was thinking. If you had if you took each one of these and wrote down what time and what I would do, what would I do with more time? Where would I spend it? And you got very specific with it. Money. If I had this much money and I made this much money, I had an asset that produced me this much money every month, how much would it be? Maybe you want to calculate it in minutes or seconds like Steve. I like how he thinks. Or freedom. If you had the freedom, maybe it's just the freedom to go to the bathroom whenever you want. Whatever. Or travel. There's a lot of people that, and so my wife is any place that there are palm trees and it's sunny and the water is crystal clear, she's down for it. And I said, there's like crystal hot springs just right up there. She said, there's no palm springs, palm trees, and the water's not crystal clear. Or security. Think about this. To build something, to build an asset that had residual income every month that you built, no matter what happens, you, your family, anybody that has a problem. I heard someone tell a story that wouldn't it be nice to just know that someone was having a problem, and I think a lot of us, you wouldn't want the credit. Just go and be the light in their life, help them with the problem, and just know it didn't hurt you one bit, and you were able to help bless a family. Take some burden off their shoulders. I think it'd be so awesome, yes, to be able to invest in your family. Has anybody ever gone to a funeral lately? Or ever? And with your family, do you have a lot of folks in your family missing at funerals? Has anybody ever noticed that? Or weddings or anything like that? And when I notice, it's because they don't have the time or they need the money, or it's the only time you get together. It's kind of a sad thing. It's the only time people get together. What about charity? I never thought about this one ever until I was introduced to this opportunity, but would you like to have a charity? Maybe that's your legacy. A charity and something of what? What's passionate with you? But a lot of folks don't understand, or they're not sure. If you're living in the 95% part of it and that's all you were taught, how do you break out of that? Well, one is we give them the key to the first door to unlock it, to start their journey down the path of success. And that's insidious. The second one is Pales. So it's this book by Chris Brady. Pales. Phenomenal book. Chris Brady's a phenomenal young man. He tells a lot better jokes than I do. But I love how he walks you through. If you don't know and you've never been down the path, how do I dream again? How do I set goals? How do I help somebody else do that? Would anybody like to use leverage and leverage Chris Brady in his book to help somebody go down the path that they want? 100%, right? It is a phenomenal book. I recommend anybody, if you're interested in chasing your dreams and getting your dreams, if I said it was inside this book, would you believe me? Because it is, it really is. You have the power to unlock the next door, is just reading the book pales. Here's the best part, and you can leverage it to help somebody else by giving them the book and the same opportunity. Team approach, so this part, how do we get where we want to go? What's the vehicle that we use? So one, we have an opportunity, and then 95% of us were never taught anything that helps us leverage. And even if someone says something about it, they don't have a vehicle to help you get there. Does that make sense? Anybody ever read Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Phenomenal book, but I kept waiting like, what do you do? He doesn't tell you what to do. Just tells you that there's a lot of stuff out there, and it's a good book, but there's no vehicle to help you get where you want to go. You get excited, but then, like, is there a part two? Did I miss something? He doesn't share anything with you of how you get there. And here we have an opportunity to what? Teach people a different way to pay. They use the platform, and then basically how it works is through team approach. And this has, if you can look at this, I hope you can see this whole thing is leverage, 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 leverage. That's everything is in here, is we help leverage each other. Whoever got you on here, they're excited where they want to go because they listed out their goals and dreams, they wrote them down, they look at them in the morning and at night, and they can't wait to introduce this to somebody else, because if they can go get their goals and dreams, why can't somebody else? And this is how this works. You just start adding people to the team, and is everybody busy? We already established everybody would like to have more time. And in here, as a team, we lock arms together and we can help each other. Because if I've got 5 minutes, Jane's got 5 minutes, Steve has a few minutes, but together we can add up to a bunch, and we can work together to add volume, to add people to our team. And this is also, has anybody ever been up the top of a hill and rolled like a rock down the hill, or done anything like that, or snowball? It's kind of fun when you're a kid. Maybe I'm a kid, I still like to do that. But once you get something that's heavy going, are you going to stop it? Heck no, and I wouldn't want to be the person that tried, but this is the same way. This is momentum. This is what's called momentum. As the more people that get on, the more excitement that comes. This is made for momentum. This business is. It's made for momentum. It's made for growth. It's made for people to grow from each other. And as a team, remember how that big circle of community, the more people get in the community, even if you're not on the same team, the more excitement, the more buying power we have, and the faster and easier it is. So what's the whole goal when anybody starts an opportunity and they start a business? What are they trying to do?
Make money.
Get business cards, Steve. No, I'm just kidding. Make money is a good one too. But no, yes, they want to make money. And here's another part of leverage. So we had team approach, it's leverage. Here's the outline of that. So anything that's systemized, there's a step-by-step process that you follow that anybody can plug into, and they can follow the same process. Would you agree? And in here, so what's that process? You help 10 people, you and your team help 20 people on one team and 10 in the other. So and we leverage each other, but these are 20 people showing up to events, because people that are showing up and saying, yes, I want to start learning the success principles, and yes, I want to start implementing in my life. And then you start making months. This is $1,600 a month. We just had, Greg, Mr. Adams, gosh, him and his amazing wife did this in 36 days, 20 and 10. But here's the thing that they also had. They had some phenomenal leaders above them as well that got them on the team. And these guys took the opportunity of the avalanche and the momentum and just blew it out of the water, which is awesome. I love it. One, you could be mad at them or jealous. But two, I absolutely love that that's the system that we have the power to plug into, isn't it? Because that means it's there for you and me. So team approach, you don't have to do it yourself. So when I look at this, Go Leader, 20 and 10, you don't have to do it for yourself. And this is leverage, where we get to help lock arms together with each other, and we just have to be consistent. So what are we asking people to do? Take the leap. Join the consumer rebellion. So step one, we're asking people, You wanted something more, right? You have goals and dreams that you wanted. So what's the step? Subscribe to, bless you, subscribe to Royal Starfish. That's $60 a month. And it's take the 30-day well thinking challenge. So this is where they get paid to listen to audios, right? They get paid to listen to audios that help them start implementing well thinking into their life. 60 days. And then step 2, yes, I want to make profit. I want to have leverage in my life. I want to build an asset that produces me income monthly. So I'm going to enroll as a member. I'm going to get the book kit. Because what did we say? There was the 2 books that unlocked the door to help them down the path they wanted. Insidious and Pales for $79. Total charge $139. And I've had some people like, wow, that's a lot of money. I said, oh yeah, what's the last concert you went to? And they'll tell me, and I'm like, how much did you spend on tickets? They're like, all right, never mind. What did it really get you? It was fun, but what we're talking about could change your life forever. Your legacy, it could change you having the time that you want, the money that you want, to go travel when you want. Can you imagine walking into work and saying, I'm not sure I really want to be here today, and I have an asset that I built that gives me the opportunity to say that. Think about that. Wherever you're at, would you like to have choices? So what this opportunity does, it gives you choices, and we're just leading the path down to people saying, here's the leap. What's the leap? $60, and then step 2, $79 to help them walk down the road. So we have our next steps. Begin the Well Thinking Challenge. Book a time to launch your business. Everything that's set up in this platform is leverage. I hope you can see that. When you start, has anybody ever showed you, like, has anybody ever seen the FedEx logo? And if you look in the FedEx logo, there's actually a white arrow. And if you look at a FedEx and you'll see it, and once you see the white arrow in the FedEx logo, I can't look at it, and that's the first thing, I just look at it and I'm like, dang it, I wish they would never say it, because all I can see is the arrow now. But to me, if you can look and say, here, how do I go as fast as possible? How do I launch my business? How do I use leverage here and go as fast as possible? We have a business launch. We read the first chapters, and because everything is about getting into action. Because you can't go anywhere. That's one of the things I notice about very successful people. What do they do very, very well? Besides, they have the little bits of things that they do, and they're very good at it, but they get into action in everything they do. They don't wait. Very successful people like, oh man, I'm gonna make so much money, and they don't just sit in their chair. What do? They run after it. They think of solutions. They don't think of problems. They think of how can I get there and why, and they're very good at action. And then they listen to audios, and then they hear. I thought Greg Adams did a good job sharing with his brother-in-law. His brother-in-law had a company worth, I think he said 50 million, and he was trying to get it to 150 million, and I thought he said something very interesting. He said, the people that helped me get to 50, they can't help me get to 150 because they don't have the thinking. And think about that. Here, if you've only ever made so much in your life and you've been around other people that have only done this in your life, and how will you learn anything else if you're not around people that have different thinking? How do you elevate to go to your goals and dreams if you don't get around people that have the dreams that you want, that live the lifestyle that you want, that make the money that you want? Wouldn't it make sense to get around people and attend the next big event to help lift you up and start thinking different? We're going to have, we're going to have a young lady come up and tell you really what's why you should attend the next big event and what's in it for you. So please come on up. Thank you.
Okay, I know you guys don't know me super well, but my name's Kelly, and I'm excited to tell you about the major convention that's coming up. It's just in, 3 weeks, right? About 3 weeks. February, I'm jumping ahead. February 20th through the 22nd in Memphis, Tennessee. And Memphis, Tennessee is pretty exciting. If you've never been there, there's a lot to see there just alone. Especially if you like music, there's Graceland and Sun Studios and stuff like that. I've been able to go there before. But the convention is really exciting. I'm really excited that they're having it. I remember the first time that I went. Now, I like to go to conventions. I really like to learn, broaden my mind, have a lot of experiences. But when I went to that one, I was like, okay, I don't know what to expect. I've never been to this convention before. I don't know what it's going to be like. But I remember feeling just a lot of positivity. I really felt like everybody was down to earth and that you could connect with the people. A lot of times when you're going to conventions, you'll have the people who are speaking that will feel like you're detached from them. You don't really get to know them. They're like these people on these pedestals. But it didn't feel like that for me. It felt like these were my new best friends, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed feeling connected with them. I also really enjoyed connecting with team members, having those moments in between and connecting with the people that was there, and getting to know people from all over, not just in my team, but all of the teams. So I really enjoyed it. So that is something I highly encourage you to go to. There's still time to get tickets if you want to fly. You can drive there, take a caravan. A lot of time to still do that. I also want to talk about Rob and Amy Mayo. They're coming next week here, which I'm really excited because I'm on their team. I've known Amy for a while, and everything I've known about her I've been impressed with. I've watched her go through a lot of different things in her life. I've watched her grow her businesses. I've watched her grow this business. Everything about her I've learned from her. And when I watch her with this business, I've learned a lot. She had broken the record, just a little bit more than what Greg and Amanda did. I think it was like 40 days that she hit leader. And if you came last week, Greg talked about how they had added, I think, 50 people onto their team by themselves. They still do that. And it's really good to learn from them on how they do that and how they are getting people involved. And so I'm really excited that you'll get to hear from them next week. And And now I want to bring my husband's best friend, Jeff Childs, up to finish off the meeting.
Thank you so much, and I'm glad everyone's here tonight, and thank you to Casey. Casey sent me down a rabbit hole, and so I really enjoy it because I've seen this presentation more than you, and I just really want to get this ready to go. So, how many people made New Year's resolutions? Okay, don't go with the philosophical stuff, Christine. Just, or how many people made goals for 2026? All right. So, how many people are still on those? Well, if you are, congratulations, because the second Saturday of January, most people quit and say, as Casey would say in Utah, oh, heck no, I'll just start again next year, right? And so I want to talk about this life we always wanted, but the purpose also. How many of us think this year is going to be the year? See, I set a goal like no refined sugar. And then I had a friend, just the audacity. Anyone know of Buc-ee's? Everybody knows Buc-ee's, right? They make the really good fudge. If you break your resolution, go big, all right? More refined sugar. It was so good, so I wanted to say, if I've already messed up, I might as well mess up again. So I did it again. And I thought, well, if I've already just done 2 calories and 1,000 calories, 2 pieces of fudge, might as well do it again. Bam. 3 pieces of fudge later, I thought, I'll start next year. That's what I thought. But no. And so with that thought or that paradigm, how many of us think that this year was going to be the year, and then somebody brought some sweet, beautiful Buc-ee's fudge into your life, and you thought, shoot. You know, I have never really set a goal and kept going after it. It's just a pattern I have. And it just kind of revolves, and after a while, the same thing happens here. We have a big dream, we have a purpose, and we could wax or feign philosophical on it and say, well, you know this. Well, it was good. I stopped and I didn't hit the pedestrian that was walking across the road. Well, I didn't do this. But in all reality, the very goals that we set, it's just we're never reaching it, if that makes sense. And so I want to be really short, brief, and talk about the purpose we have. Whether you set New Year's resolutions, goals, or a new lifestyle, there has to be something more than a dollar amount to it. Does that make sense? Because I'm guessing some of us with gray hair, we've made $1 million or $2 million in our lifetime. Where is it? Where is it? And some of you that don't have gray hair, you're still on your way. But where did it go? And so like $6 a hamburger, right? I just think that's terrible. That's why I just call up Casey and ask him what he's eating. And if it's meat, I invite myself over. So what is your purpose in life and why? So a lot of people join this business for what? Kelly, why did you join? To chase your dream? Which is, can you give us a brief overview? Like, more security and freedom. Angel, why did you join this business? You wanted what? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a purpose-driven life. And so you go ahead and clap for that like Ben is in the back. What are you doing? So you came back for the information, but does it cost money to develop a program and have your farm flourish? Yeah, I have a friend that I met that he's a farmer. And I heard this from 2 farmers in the last 4 or 5 weeks. You live broke and you die rich. And what that means is they have lots of land, they have those big expensive tractors, but to turn a profit's tough. But when they pass away, their kids sure are excited. You know, they put all that money in. And so, Ben, why did you, sorry, Kelly, I didn't mean to hit you with the red dot, but with Ben, I don't mind. What is it, why did you join? And so I want to build upon that. So this is where Casey got me down a rabbit hole. You probably thought I was like just texting or something or scrolling, but I ever thought, how much is it? You know, you talk about the 5% live this way, or the upper 1% live this way. What is the net worth of someone who's in the upper 10%? Have you ever wondered about that? I have the answers. Millions and billions. I thought the same. You know, I thought it's so huge, it's so humongous, it's almost unachievable. In my mind, I thought this is like it's an avenue. It's the most inexpensive avenue to try to go after lots of dollars and cents so that you can go after your purpose. But if you are, and I was really surprised about this, okay, that's a Sunday school part if you want to go there, but we'll skip that part right now. You have to pay 10% for me to give you that one. Okay. Did you get that, Casey? 10%? Yeah, okay. Okay. All right, here we go. To join, all right, the upper 10% requires between $970,000 and $1.9 million of April 2025. That's not very much. You think about it's net worth. So like Lane, if we were to sell all of your assets, you know, where would you be? That's so okay. So net worth. Guess if you're in the upper 5%. That's is between 1.17 million, so 1.1 million, and 2.7 million. That's the upper 5%. I am so, as of 2025, that's not that much money. I mean, it's a lot. I remember growing up, I really wanted to be a millionaire, but if you own your house, it almost puts you in there, right? It just about puts you in there. Then, this is the one that looks unachievable to me. This is one with Orrin Woodward, Chris Brady. The net worth, and it still is between 1.6 million and 3.7 million. That's it. I mean, there's some more. Don't get me wrong, that's a lot of money, and I would take it, but that's not that much. In order to be one of the top 1% earners, 570,000. Okay, I was thinking it's like a million something. Top 5%. Really good, 242,000. The top 1% of the earners, 190,000. 190,000, your top 10%. So, yes. So guess what? When you go and talk to someone and say, hey, Texan, who lives too close to Buc-ee's, do you want to join our team? Save some money, make some money, and say, it's only money, I don't need money, I'm not a money-based person. You know what you say? Wow, you must have about $11 million net worth, right? Just say yes. Okay, so what I want to share with you is what avenue, and Angel just gave my thesis, what other avenue do you have to go make 240,000 a year, or make 300,000 or 400,000? Does that make sense? Here, let's say that you work, and the average here in Weber County is 61,000 now, I believe. And so 2 incomes, there's very few people who have 1 income. So if you have 2 people, you're making 120,000 a year, and it's still hard. See, most people are all struggling. When you see those big trucks out there, and the SUVs, and the snowmobiles, and the side-by-sides, and what else? All the trips that everyone's on in Facebook. Do you know what's amazing? They have to be broke, according to this. Or they inherited a lot of money. Like I've been fortunate this last little while that I've been running around with a lot of billionaires. A lot. But a millionaire is not that much. You own your house, you own something, you sell kidney, you're right there. Okay? So, and I'm sitting there talking to him. I got together with, in this little area right here, I got together 10 of the kids that we grew up on, where we used to cut the asparagus over here where Pilot and McDonald's are, and used to watch the stolen cars down that way. I've told you all that. There were 10 of us, and of the 10, 2 were retired at 60 already, owned their own business, worked at the IRS, received big inheritances. Because see, when their ancestors came over and Brigham Young said, you go over that way, and you go over that way, you go over that way, they got all this land. And then they got some more land, and it kind of divvied up. And now, parents who have that money are passing away, and it's going, right, to the next generation. My question is, if this generation, us, we're so overwhelmed in debt, what do we pass on to our kids? Does that make sense? So now for me, the purpose turns real. I've seen what kids who go to junior high and high school, college, when their parents have money to help them, and those who don't. And I'm not saying to give money away, but to be able to have the advantage to help them up. And so when I look at this purpose, and I see my kid, I have a son that makes upper 1% money. I have another son that qualifies for every social program out there. So it's a big divide. But my purpose is what? They're my kids. I don't want to give it away. So I want to share with you that though we make resolutions or goals, and what's to be upper 1%, what's to be an upper 2%, and upper 5%, what would it be like to give your family an example? What is it like to be able to take care of your kids? You know, tax season's coming up. I mean, this is how my dad taught me this, and he grew up poor, died, I told you, died, gave away $1 million, gave each one of us kids $20,000, which was helpful, and then gave the rest to my mom, and she's supposed to spend it and not give it to us, okay? Which is fine. But, but what if I wanted to change how I think, and I'm not hoping for taxes to come in to get $2,000 or $4,000 return, or whatever it is, or if you get more money than you paid, who's giving you that money, right? But what would it be like to be someone that, this is what my dad taught me, if you have to pay taxes, and he had businesses, that's a good thing, because you're prospering. And so I don't know if you've ever seen a plant wilt and a plant growing. I have a plant in my office that's growing. It's flourishing. It's doing extra sprouts. It looks healthy, right? And it's growing. Have you ever seen a tomato plant or a squash plant wilt? So I kind of been, that's what I was doing on the back row. Let us have a purpose that doesn't wilt, but that we're prospering. And when we prosper, the Bible says, of all things, I hope you should prosper. It doesn't say, I hope that you are in the upper 1%. I hope you're not loaded with money. It means to prosper. And in my opinion, prospering means growing spiritually, growing emotionally, growing in service. And like Angel, when she gave my thesis, but it takes dollars and cents. So I really think it'd be great to prosper, that we be able to get the money issue out of the way and find out our grit. And so I hope our purpose is so big and so grand that the inheritance we leave our kids isn't just 2 acres that they can cash out and pay for their house and buy a car. But the inheritance is a thinking of prosperity and abundance, which we have through our platform, our Royal Starfish platform, which all of you are aware of. The process, this is what gets tough. Why do most people, when they join this business, and we asked Kelly, and we asked Angel, and we asked Ben, why did you join the team? Why did you join? Take care of my family, take care of veterans, to just have some security. Why do most people stop in the process? It's because their dreams become like their New Year's resolutions. Well, I'll do it again next year. Well, I'll do it again next year. And I'll do it again next year. What I want to inspire myself to do is, what if I get in the process of trying to prosper? Get in the process of trying to be nicer to Steve. Okay, yeah. Okay, maybe. Try to be nicer to Jane. You know, don't set too big the goals at first, okay? No. But, you know, set in the process that, let's say that I fell in one of my goals. I don't wait and quit and say, I always fail. No, we start again. So that's what our marketing system's for. That's what our wealth thinking's for. So if you find yourself skipping a meeting, or skipping listening, or skipping reading, or saying, oh, and you find a reason not to go to the gym, guess what? You're really not actively chasing your purpose in life. And your purpose is to be prosperous. You know, I think we don't want to be unbalanced. I believe, those of you who know me know what I believe and how I believe in it, right? But if I just stay in a corner and do that all the time, am I truly prospering with my fellow man? Or if I'm chasing dollars and cents all the time, am I truly prospering with my fellow man? Or if I'm in the gym all the time, but I let my responsibilities for my family go, am I prospering? What I love about this business is its steady and consistency. And when you have Bucky's chocolate fudge, which is so good, you can have the white kind that has the little swirls in it. I don't want that one. But the good chocolate kind, you just start again. And you start again, you keep coming. And you keep being bolstered by friends like Steve and Jane, and then you see Glenn, and just keep going and going. But the one thing we never want to be complacent of is not doing. So I want to encourage us all that we have our purpose, and it has to be big, but not so big that it's not achievable, okay? Right now, to make $11 million, no one in Starfish is making $11 million a year, except for Orrin and Chris, okay? Others are making big bucks. Don't make it wrong. But your purpose has to be more than money. We have to think different than what we were before. We have to think that when tax time comes, we're not excited to get our $4,000 back. Does that make sense? Because that's poverty thinking. Okay? I would never have said that, but Dustin did. Okay, so the process of leverage, the system in our events. I came in here today and I told the two ladies up front, amazing ladies, thank you so much for covering. Because when Lisa and I started the business here, and we were so hoping to have like 12 people show up, and there were like 80 people showed up, almost 100, and then we went up to 100, 120, 130. You remember, right? And we were bam, bam, and like, don't you dare tell anyone down south this, okay? You're on Team Ogden. When they were saying, we were so excited, okay, you're committed, okay, you're part of the family. And they were saying, we're so excited, we have 80 people. We thought, they're so cute. They're so cute. And we're doing 130, 140, 150. I was not humble, but Lane and Jenny Lynn were, and Glenn were. But we were so excited. So what I want to say is, once you've done it once, you can do it again. But the thing is, I lost my secret weapon. If any of you ever tried to negotiate with Lisa, just know you're going to lose. And so what happens when I walk in? Brianna and Amy says, that's what we do as a team. Because they do what Lisa can't do right now. And they do what I can't do, even if I'm here. So what I'm saying is, all of us together, let's not just think, oh shoot, I didn't have someone new this week. No, say, did I try? Did I show it to somebody and then they didn't like it that much? It doesn't matter until you stop. Those who come and go in this business, they quit long before they stop coming here. That's the danger. They give up the hope. And if you've ever seen someone who's hopeless, it's a hard thing. And so I want to encourage us all to fuel the hope. And that pattern is just bringing more people here. So I don't know if that made sense, but if it didn't, it's Casey's fault. If it did make sense, it's Casey's fault. Because to be in the upper 1% in money is great, but it doesn't make you. If you're doing 5 PV a month and that's the best you can do, truly do, then that's even better. But if you challenge yourself to go to 50 PV, that's great. If you challenge yourself to do 100 PV, that's great. If you're challenging your friend, if I'm not Steve's friend, then you know what? If I know he can do better, but he's not my friend, I won't tell him. But if I do believe in Steve, I will tell him. His wife will do it, but if she did, I would, right? So what I want to just say to all of us, we fight so hard for a paycheck. Why not fight hard for our purpose, our security? Over here, I thought it was a quinceañera. It was a funeral. It was a funeral. And did you hear the kids going up and down the hallways and yelling and screaming? I thought it was Jenny Lynn's phone going off for a while, because I thought, Jenny Lynn, has anyone told you your phone's going off? But see how excited those children were? to be with their cousins, to go just run up and down the hall. They probably won't remember their grandpa or their uncle or whoever passed away. What about if we were so excited about chasing our dream? That childhood innocence that's not spoiled by the decay of becoming an adult and becoming old and crusty. Does that make sense? You're only old. You could be old at 30. I have a guy that came into my office. He was 90-something years old. And you know what? He was young. You know why he was so young? He still had another Mount Everest to climb. He was telling me things that he was doing, not considered goals, but excited to chase life. So in between this week and when the Mayos or Miles? Yeah, those Mayos, like not like like the month, Mayo. Okay, thank you. Excuse me. What I want to encourage us all, just think in the back of your mind for the rest of this week until when we see the Mayos. Were you excited about your purpose in life? I had a friend at church say once, do you actually attend church or you just sit down and hold the pew down? Maybe because I was dozing off. Maybe let's not doze off on chasing our purpose. Let's go after it. For me, I have a goal. I'll just share with this. I could retire right now. Okay. I can, done. What drives me right now? Okay, I'm not wealthy. I'm in some of those percentiles, but a car broke down, it's going to cost me $1,000. That still bugs me. But we can pay for it, but it still bugs me, right? Why do I come here? For help. Because I have the arrogance, I've been blessed with arrogance to know that we can go to 150. And at 150, Brianna and Derek, who are just some of the kindest people, that their 6 kids live better. Not that their parents are making $1 million a year, but maybe 50,000. And then I have a little girl that I just love named Emma. Their parents are okay, but she's amazing. I can't wait till they make $33,000 a year. Why? Because $33,000 changes the dynamics of a family. I can't wait for Jason not just to come back, but expand on his potential. I cannot wait till Jenny Lynn and her trophy husband Lane stand up and say, we were there during the good times, the famine, but we would not give up on our goals. And because they did that, everyone here has reached their dreams and their goals. So I want to encourage us all. Not look at what is today, but will become. Don't settle for $3,000, $4,000 cash back from taxes. Look forward to the day when you pay taxes. Why? Because then you're helping veterans flourish. You're having all of that therapy going to them. You're putting Derek's and Brianna's kids on missions. You're paying for a wedding. Okay, I won't call on you. So you're going to help Dennis's kids, grandkids, go ice skating. You know that? Lane and Jenny Lynn are going to buy out the upper class seats for a cruise and take all of their kids and all of the lost kittens and puppies that Jenny Lynn can find and take them on a cruise forever. And Lane won't have to foot the bill anymore because he's got a lot in the coffers, okay? You know, won't that be amazing? Or to go to Jerusalem, but you have that one family member that made some hard choices in life and can't afford to go. But they're your sibling, and you take them. Or what about someone who needs, what? I have a patient now who needs teeth. He's a great guy. What do? He wasn't blessed to be given money upon money upon money passed down. Perhaps his ancestors squandered their inheritance. What I want to encourage all of us to do is give an inheritance to our offspring. And my offspring is Brianna and Derek's. kids. You don't know that. And to Amy and Ben. But you know what? The inheritance is to live a life of abundance. First, always, this is your priority, and if your upline tells you different, just know that I'm right and don't tell them this. First is God. Second, spouse. Third, family. Immediate income, and then this. It's not fat man softball, then bowling, and then watch the NFL playoffs, and then wait to see who gets drafted for the NBA, and then the NBA drafts, and then to go fishing. No, it's God, spouse, children, immediate income, and this business. Why do I say it in that order? Because of this reason. This is a people business. And so you'll have people, there'll be times in your life and your team that you'll have 100 people on your team and you're so excited. And you might hear whispers, retire now and go full time. Well, you don't know of the 100 people if someone gets cancer. And then if another one, a spouse passes away, or worse, a child passes away. And then you don't know what if COVID's going to hit. What do you do? See, your coffers have to be so full that you need to be like Chris Brady that says, you can't touch me. See, then you live a life of abundance. You don't live on if come. Does that make sense? You live on what's happened, and now you can go forward with what you have. And I know that might be a contrary doctrine to some people that have heard this, but just so you know, I've been in this so long. And those of you like Angel knows, and Janie Lynn and Lane and Glenn know. You could look at this. Someone saw we were a big team, and nobody really knew it. We didn't. I don't do lifelines very well. Don't tell Manasseh. But we were huge, and all those dollars and cents went to debt and savings. Nothing fancy. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but what I'm just trying to say is we have something here that can you imagine when your grandkids or your children have something hard hit them and they have to be in the hospital for a long time. You could step in and say, I got this. Because money doesn't matter. What matters most is your welfare plan. Which matters most, Monica, is what's good for your kids. And so this is a little bit straightforward talk, but our purpose has to be greater than dollars and cents. Dollars and cents gets the money out of the way. The number one product marketed in the world is debt. We need to conquer that and conquer that for our friends. And then we get to have this big celebration, and we're almost done. Can you imagine Kim, who is Kelly's trophy husband? He is a great guy. I wish I would, and my best friend. He doesn't know that yet. But can you imagine when one day he walks in and he doesn't have to be on the road anymore traveling? Won't that be cool? And then we'll be out in Florida, or if we go to the Bahamas again, which let's not go to Bahamas. we don't go somewhere like Alaska, right? And there's Kim with his wonderful wife and their grandkids that we just get to meet. And then we see Christine, who, oh my heck, has had an uneasy life. But she had the audacity to have a greater purpose than that. And so I want us to leave now saying, let's have a greater purpose than what is hard. We all have hard things, but our purpose is greater than that. And together as a team, we accomplish more than that. And then we get to see the fruits of our labor. We get to see you become mission presidents again. We get to see Steve do huge things, travel the world, Doctors Without Borders. See, he goes to a third world country and makes all their freeway systems for free. I don't know if he wants to work that hard, but work. Okay. Yeah, Casey, just make everything right, okay? And so anyway, I want to encourage us all this week. Have fun pursuing your purpose. God, spouse, children, immediate income, which is a necessary evil for now, and then this, because this supports all that we do for our highest priorities. Thank you so much. Have an amazing weekend. Goodbye.